Okay, my friend, here is the video about the breakdown of the animation that I made some days ago, the relay race. I don't know if it's the correct way of saying it. Let's go. Okay, here is the scene. As you can see with Eevee, it's very easy to have a good preview of it in our viewport. You can zoom in on each cargo ships and it's just like rendering it. Okay, and what have I done to make this scene? Okay, let's change view. First thing that I've said the last day I talk about this video is that I suppose I've used a wrong scale. I think that my scene is the objects are too little. I think I had to use more bigger elements. I don't know what makes me think about this, but I had some clipping problem with the camera clipping. I had to turn down the value of the where is the camera. I had to turn down a lot of the clipping start, and there are problems in the render that maybe they are due to the clipping start, but I didn't have time to remake everything, because there are different things like this path that is followed by our spaceships and our camera. If I change the scale, I suppose I could have some problem. So there are mistakes, I think, but we will take a look at the scene anyway. When I work at scene like when I work at animations like this, I use creativity, and I go without a clear thought of what I'm doing. It's like a painter when makes a paint and use his instinct. So there are a lot of things made by instinct here. I don't know if you like this approach. Maybe somebody of you prefer a technical approach. Yes, it has to be technical, because without any technique you cannot go on in animation like this, but in origin it's based on the instinct. So I thought I wanted a space scene with a big Earth, the big planet Earth. I had already done it for another animation in 21 years ago, and this is my planet Earth. I thought I've used the textures from the NASA site and ASA American site. I found on their site these textures about the land of the landscapes, a texture of the clouds, and nothing else. Landscape and clouds, and I think a specular that define where we have these specular effects and where we don't have it. So the sea is reflecting lights, and the earth, the terrain, not. As you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spheres that defines the planet Earth. Now I will take a look at each of this sphere, so that you can understand what I've done. In this sphere, I just put this texture. We can see here the material composition. There is a diffuse there is a specular. I've changed with the brightness and contrast node the intensity of the specular, and I've put the specular directly into the specular slot and diffuse into the base color. And then I've used a bump that I've made. I think I've made it using GIMP or some other free software. I don't remember at the moment, but I achieved this bump starting from the diffuse, and the bump is a modified version of the diffuse map. You can see here that the bump gives us these rough mountains. I can give it more intensity or less intensity, moving the strength here. This is the first level of our what's happening. It's not responsive. Okay. This is the first level. The second level is the clouds. So here are the clouds. The clouds are projecting a shadow on the earth. Okay, you can see that there is a black shadow. This is only an approximation at low samples. When you render it, it goes okay. For the shadows, I've used another kind of material. So I don't use the bump because I had problems with the bump. As you can see, the node is deactivated. I can delete it. I just use a map of the shadow that I downloaded from the NASA site, and I used an RGB curves to make more visible the alpha, because without this node the alpha was not good. I don't know which kind of problem is this, but without this node there are two less clouds in my sky. I want more clouds. I think that this is not good. So with this node RGB curves, I've just modified the intensity to make more clouds. I was looking at this part of the earth, that is the one that I'm showing in my video. Maybe it was correct what happened with this RGB curves deactivated, but I like this more cloudy view of the earth, so I made this, and I had to change the transparency into alpha etched, because when I use other spheres to generate the atmosphere, if I here use an alpha blend, it makes conflicts and not good result. So I have to use alpha etched. I don't know how I had to do it, but I don't know why I had to do it, but I had. So I'm here to tell you. Naturally, the second sphere is bigger than the one. So the first sphere has a diameter and the second has a little major diameter. There is another sphere that makes only this kind of effects all around the earth. If you can see, there is more light. When I activate it, it's became brighter, the earth, because I'm using node that go in addiction to the other elements of the scene. This is just this blue effect that is like an atmosphere, but there's no atmosphere on the earth. There's only this part in the sky. So there is another earth. Here is more visible that it is an atmosphere. The earth became become blue, and there is another one and another one. The last one is the most important because it gives this color to the Earth, that is the color that we know from the space. I didn't realize, I didn't make a night map with the lights of the city. I forgot about it, and I didn't have time at the end of the video to come back and doing it. And this last is alpha hashed again. These other are in alpha blend. I don't know the difference between blend and hashed. Blend is more clear, is direct transparency. Hashed give you pixelated transparencies that I think they need more samples to go better. But in some situation, when you use alpha hashed, it helps you to avoid some artifacts. This is my opinion about this. But if somebody knows more about, I will listen to him, because I'm not a teacher about those things. So this is the planet Earth as I done it in this scene. I want to show you a material. This is the material for the atmosphere. This is very important. It's something that I don't remember where I've seen it. I've studied and I used this kind of node elements to simulate intensity and something like volumetric, because the atmosphere is volumetric. It's like an inverted Fresnel, because when the sphere goes to the sides, so the light is tangent, it became more visible and it becomes blue. When you are tangent and you take a look at your Earth directly from the space tangent to the surface, you cannot see the atmosphere that is here. If I turn down all the other elements, you can see what I say. This is the phenomenon of the atmosphere. I don't know if it's correct or not. There's nothing physically correct here. It's just something that I like or I dislike, and so I change the value and I say, okay, this is what I wanted, this is what I like. Sometimes I compare the result to some picture that I find on the web, and this is what's happening here. This is the outside ring. There is a shade here to create this smooth surface, and this is the inside ring. Here is completely transparent and here is not. So when I turn on all the other elements, you can tweak your atmosphere, tweaking these values. Very useful, these nodes, in my experience. Okay, these nodes are the factor of a mix shader that use a transparent BSDF and a diffuse BSDF. In the diffuse I give the color, and this is the factor that mix those two elements. Nothing too hard. Okay, this is the Earth. The Moon is very easy. The Moon, as all of you will understand, is not in the correct position and is not in the correct dimension. Where is the Moon? Because I don't see any Moon here. Okay, here is the Moon. Where is the Earth? Okay, just take a look at this situation. As you can see, this is not the correct distance. I think the Moon is more far than the planet Earth, but I didn't want to have too much space between the Moon and the cargo ships, because I didn't know what to do with my spaceship in this very long way. So I took it near to the Earth, and in this other place there is the the deep space station. Is it right? No. This is the sun. Sorry, this is the sun. As you can see, is everything fake, because the sun is here. It's not possible, but it's what I need in my scene to make it as you can see it now, and it's quite good. For sure, it's not real, because I don't think we can have a sun here, an earth here, and the moon here. But if I go to the camera view now, you can see that everything is working in the correct way. This is the sun. It's far enough not to change his position when I move the camera on my path, because it's very important that the sun seems to be sticky to the sky. Okay, so this is the distance that seems to be sticky to the sky when I move in my path. Okay, now I want to show you the moon. The moon is very easy, because the moon is only a ball, a sphere with a very easy composition of the material. Here is the moon map that goes directly into the base color, and then I have a bump mapping just to give some bumping, as you can see, created by the light source. Okay, this is easy, and this map is very good. I think that you already know that it's important to change this value from linear, that is this, to cubic, that is this. Maybe smart is good enough. I don't know how they work. I'm new to this kind of material composition, because 1 year ago I was working on the Blender internal render engine. I've never used cycles, and this is my first approach to the node system for the materials. So there is for sure somebody who knows more better than me what to do with the nodes. I have a lot of things to understand and to learn. Going in the camera view, I've made an animation. No, sorry, I went too far. There is the Deep Space Nine station that is lost somewhere. Where? Oh my god, there's no station. Earth calling station. Where is the station? The station is at the end of the path. Is here. This is a fantastic. Oh, station deactivated. Okay. This is a fantastic 3D model. I found this on blendswap.com. There are the credits at the end of the This is a fantastic model. I downloaded it from blendswap.com. There are the credits at the end of the video with the name of the author. Thank you again for this model. I had to make the materials, because in the version that I downloaded there were no materials, so it was quite easy, because the model is perfect and very detailed. I've add some detail to the model, because the model is like this, and the material adds all these panels and details. I made them very quick, because I had no time to lose in making materials and models. I wanted to make my animation, so I've used this material for all the elements of the station. Now I want to show you some material. The main station, this is the main material that I've used. Yes, there is a little complexity because I've used an ambient occlusion node to create see if I can show you. Do you see that there are darker area near the corners? There are okay, this is darker area. These are created, this is darker area. They are created by this node that use the ambient occlusion map with this color ramp. I choose which range of this ambient occlusion I needed to make the idea of some dirty part little used by the time. You can see also here it happens. Here there are darker elements that are created with this node. Then I mixed the RGB of this node with another node that has a noise. This is just a noise node, and mixed them with white. So I had a clear color, a clear white color with this part a little dirt. Okay, because if I deactivate this node, everything will be white, but there is no this idea of dirt that I like to make this station more used by people by time. Yes, this is something that okay. Then there is this brick texture and checker texture, that are texture that creates bricks and squares that are mixed together to create a bump map. This bump map is this one that makes all these panels that were not in the geometry of the station. So if I change the strength, you can see what happens. Okay, here are these panels, but I prefer a lower strength. Okay, then there are the lights. The lights are very easy because these lamps are given by only an emission shader. As you can see, this emission shader has keyframe. Why the hell the emission shader has keyframe? Because I wanted this light. You cannot see in the movie because you cannot see, but I wanted this light to move in time. So as you can see, they are flickering, and to make them flick or flicker, I don't know, sorry, but English for me it's very hard. You don't know how I wanted to make this in Italian. I could say you lots of things in Italian, but in English I have to say just a few words because I don't know more. If you go here in this editor, that is, why I cannot see it, red lamp node 3. Oh, okay, they are here. I changed the scale because it's hard to see what I want to show you. Okay, this red sign, yes, see, red graph is the intensity of this light. So to have it, just not to do it by hands, keyframe by keyframe, you could get crazy. I've had a keyframe at the beginning of the animation, at the 0 frame, and then I've added modifiers. Here are the modifiers. So I've used add modifier. I've created a built-in function, and the built-in function is a curve, a graph with this amplitude, this phase multiplier, and other values that you can see here. It is additive, that means that all the result is in add or on the value that I had here at the beginning, and this is just to make this light flickering. The same things happen on the engine of the spaceship that we are following in the movie. This engine is blue, and this blue is flickering in the same way. Okay, this is, I think this blue is flickering faster and faster, because this graph is very fast, because I wanted it with big flickers, but it's the same that I've done there and on other elements. I suppose that also these elements here that are like sentinels that looks at the space in this way. They seems very aggressive, very evil. They are moving. If I may play, they are moving, they are scanning the space, taking a look at what happens in their zone, and they have flickering lights too, and this movement is made with these graphs. I didn't want to make it by hand, so they are moving using built-in function. All of these ships are moving. You cannot see it because I've done this at the beginning of my idea, and then everything has changed, and so you cannot see this little movement in the final animation. Okay. These are the elements. Then there are the cargo ship. The cargo ships go at the beginning. There are the cargo ships that are just big elements. I downloaded them from BlendSwap 2, and I've used the same material that I've used for the space station, because I didn't have time to create another material. I create these very lighted materials just to make some variation inside of all these dark elements. I didn't want to be everything so dark, so I made this yellow light that is only an emission material, and then the most important part was to define the path, the moving path. That is very hard. I'm not completely satisfied with the result, because I wanted another kind of movement, but I'm not so good in using this path. It's not my technique. I didn't know another way to move this ship in a realistic way, so I've used this that I already used in the past, but I'm not satisfied. To make this, you have to create a path using add and curve path. So I've created a path that is made by just a few points, and then a path is something like that. These are the points, and the one that is going here with this big curve in the middle is the path. I've noticed that there is something with these arrows that I thought it was an acceleration and deceleration, so I've added subdivisions to have more frames there and less frame there, but this is nothing. This doesn't work this way, if I understand. This doesn't have any connection to the speed of the animation. The speed, I have to keyframe it in another way. So I made a path. You can change the path every time you want, and all the elements that are connected to this path will change their movement accordingly to the new path. But it's very hard, because the results are hard to be predict. After making the path, I took my camera. Don't be afraid by all these things. Oh, I will remove. Okay, so it's more visible now. Here is my camera. You'll have to put your camera into location 000 and no rotation, and then you have to add a constraint that is called follow path. You can find it here, follow path, and then you have to add your path here. My path is named path, so I put the path here. Then you have to activate the follow curve if you want that your object will arrange his rotation all around the curve, and then you just have to set the up axis and the forward axis, and when it matches your needs, you can make animate path. Animate path, be sure to have the animation of the length that you need. You can change the length, and the animate path will change accordingly to the new length. The animate path goes substantially no, I have to select the path. Where is the path? Here. Okay, go to modify this element that you can find here in the object data properties of the path. So there is an evaluation time, and there is a length in frame. Going back to the camera, where are my constraints? I had to add this fixed position and to keyframe the offset, just to modify the way that my ship is moving in the space during time, because I have strong acceleration and deceleration. This is due to the fact that I wanted the spaceship to go not so fast here, because there are a lot of elements to see. Then in this point there's nothing to see, and so here is a big acceleration. Then here I wanted to make it pass through all these cargo ships, and so here there is a deceleration. Then I go fast again, and then here at the end there is this loop around the station that is very slow. So you can see the keyframes or the curve, or I can call it acceleration curve if you like. That is this one. This one is the curve that the path that the camera and the spaceships are following in time. Okay, everything is in the screen. This is the first frame. We are going not so fast. As you can see, there is now speed. Now big speed. This increasing curve is a big speed. Then I stop. This is smooth and quite not so fast. And then I have a big acceleration again, and then I go slow speed again. As you can see, my camera doesn't follow the curve. There is a follow curve, but take a look at where the camera is going. That is this line. This is in front. It changes, goes inside the curve now, because my camera is, yes, following the curve, but there are other three elements that define in time what the camera have to watch, to take in sight. And so, as you can see, these bars are changing. There are keyframes that are saying the camera now follow this object, now follow this other object, and to do this I had to do other things. These other things are an elements This is the element, this arrow that I called target camera. This arrow starts in front of the camera. It's always in front of the camera, and so is the element that the camera is targeting, is having in sight for all the time. As you can see, the camera is here and the target is here. The target is always in front and the camera is matching it at 100%. Okay, the camera is matching it, and here not. Here something has changed. The camera is not matching this point, is between this point and the spaceship. Let's go to the camera and take a look at what's happening here. Here I turned up the target of the core of the space station, is getting up. So if I go on, I have a camera that is following the curve, but is taking the target camera in sight, and for not completely. This is 0.908, so it's not completely pointing at the target camera, because there is another percent that is taking a look at the core. I didn't want to take a look at the core completely because it will look fake and it was the center of the station. I just want to have some part of the station in the camera, but not the center of the core. It will look fake. Then I had another track that is on the spaceship, but I never use it. It's always at 0. I think I can delete it with no problem, because it's always at 0. It was something like an experiment. This is very important, and this is happening while the starship that we are following, it's always in front of the camera. To do this, I've copied the path that I've made, the velocity graph of the camera. I'd copied it and pasted it in the graph of this spaceship, so that they have the same complex movement, because the space is very big, and these little spaceships always went out of my camera view if I had too big movements. So this matches the same movement of the camera, just one frame or two before the camera, and it's the same for all the animation. What is changing is the orientation of the object, the rotation of the spaceship, and the way the camera looks at it using these elements. As you can see, Caccia Nico is this spaceship. Also, the spaceship has a target. The target is the arrow that is going first. Okay, so this spaceship is targeting to the arrow that is in front of, and nothing more, and the follow curve is the other things. That may be, okay, I've made a very important thing, because take a look in this window. When I move, you can see that the spaceship has some kind of extra movement that the camera is not following. The spaceship seems to move in the sea, following some wavy movement. This wavy movement is something that I wanted to add to give more realism, because without this movement it seems completely fake. I think I can remove it. Is it possible? Okay, here is the same scene without this extra movement. Let's go and take a look at it with all. Okay, I want to deselect all, and this is the same without the extra movement. You can see that the movement is too perfect, is too clean. I don't like it. It's always in the center of the screen, as the camera was perfectly matching him. I don't like this. I wanted the extra movement. The extra movement is given by noise that I added as modifiers on the curves here, with strength and scale that I've tried trying to reaching the desired effect, and now you can see the same with the extra movement activated. That is this one. Okay, it's going down, up, right, left a little. This is happening for all the video, the animation, and is turning down at the end. At the end, I have a restricted frame range. From frame 1, 2, 3, 0, it's stopping. Okay, so here there's no extra movement, because with extra movement I could have some problem, because now there are objects very near to the spaceships. As you can see here, there is a mistake. I've seen it at the end of the video, but I didn't want to make something different. The spaceships goes completely inside of the deep space station. Okay, it's something that happens in 3 or 4 frames, but I was very tired at the end of this, and I said, okay, this is what I wanted to do. There's no problem. In reality, I wanted to make something a little different. I wanted this ship to land on this base, as if it was a man that had to go there, but it was very hard to obtain it, and I was very tired, and so I stopped here. Okay, there are other important things that are the laser cannons that makes this dramatic scene here. I've added them in the end, and it was quite easy to do it, because with the particle system this is something that we can do without losing too much time. There's nothing really realistic. From the Earth, from this place, starts blue big cannon laser, also slow, because they are slow. I wanted them slow to make you think they are very big and slow, and then here are laser faster, that goes from the cargos to the Earth. This is very easy, because take a look at one of these. I don't remember where they are. Here, cargo is here. Okay, let's go to this one. Yes, it's following all the elements. Go at 0. Show. Those are emitters, and I've decided to hide the emitters from the particle system, because I didn't want them to be shown. Let's show one emitter. Okay, this is our emitter. Now you can see it. It's parked here. Is not moving, but you can't understand it while looking at the video. As you can see, it's starting to shoot at frame, I don't know, but I have to see it. I start at frame 300 and stop at frame 700, and he's making 100 of bullets. Bullets are Newtonian but I had to turn down the gravity, because if I had the gravity they will fall to the floor. And I had to render as object, and I had to assign an object. This is the object. The object, as you can see, now I want to go to the object. The object, as you can see, is this, a bar, nothing more than a bar with a high strength emission shader, a cylinder. Okay, so let's turn. Okay, this is our emitter, and this is the emission of the. Okay, it's starting now, and this is what happens. Nothing more than this. It's very important to hide the object that makes the emission. Show emitter. Okay, now it's side. There is some bug, because sometimes you can see the emitter even if the show is deactivated, but in render you won't see it. This is not a big problem, because in render it will happen what you need. What can I say much more? Yes, in this video, as you have seen some minute before, there is this. Where is the camera? The camera, come on. There is all these elements all around the camera that are, you can see them in rendering view, deactivate everything, that are the lens flares. These elements that you can see are the lens flares. I've used an add-on to make them. The add-on is flared, and is this one. It's a pay add-on. It's not for free, and it's useful to generate this kind of effects, because without these effects, this was our scene. Without the lens flare, I wanted to simulate a big camera flare, and I've used this kind of flare. It's easy to use this add-on, because you have to select your camera here. You have to select your light source, so I had to select the sun, and then I had to choose which kind of flare I wanted to use. Here I've used a simple flare, modified in this way, and click on the plus button, and you have your flare generated by your light source. You can have a lot of flares, all the flares that you want, and it's very useful, because you can render directly your flare in the viewport without going in the compositor, and it's not screen based. So this flare, it happens also when the sun is out of your scene, because you don't have the limit of the screen space, so you can achieve these good results, quite realistic. As you can see in other moments like this, there are complex elements and textures that happen in the flare creation method. Now the flare may be quite too strong, but I wanted it to be so visible, and this is the other things that I've used to make this scene. Nothing more. I hope I said you what you wanted to listen to. I don't know if you have other question. There is another video that I recorded. I think I'm going to release to publish it in the next hours or days, in which I'm talking about the weaknesses of Eevee, because making this video and this animation, I've understood some weakness and limit of this very young engine. I hope that it will get better and better in the next times, and I'm very happy with the result of it. also if there are some problem that you can see in the other video. If you have some questions, please write them and I'll try to answer you, and I hope that you are well. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye.